Hello everyone, my name is Trevor Barnes and welcome to our budget gaming series again. I guess that's what we're calling this. So here, we got our budget gaming hardware, our AMD CPU, our GeForce GTX 670, our power supply, everything right here as we left it after the whole experimental thing here. Yeah, this didn't work out so well. I tore this down after only a couple of days of having this monitor contraption together. So I figured, let's make it better. And I think the best way to make it better is taking a pre-built computer case that has a computer in it right now that we got for free, because the hardware in there sucks. And let's put this system in it to make sure all of our hardware, including our radiator, fits in there, add some extra fans, and let's make this puppy work. Cool. Plus, I got a little surprise where this monitor somehow is going to mount to it, but we'll see how that works. But let's get started. Okay, so we have everything tear down and kind of over here. That needs to be all go into the new case. Let me go ahead and bring this up here. It's a little heavy. It's weird how heavy this is. So just so you guys are aware, this is actually a Dell Inspiron. What is it, 580, I believe? Or, yes, it is a 580. Yes, unfortunately, Dell's model numbering system, sometimes confusing. But this is the case of a 580. So what do we got here? We got metal, which is nice, at least on the top and the bottom here. Plastic front, no ventilation in the front at all, so we might have to do some modification for that if it's necessary. We got a little ventilation on the bottom here, but nothing too much, but that might be sufficient. But we're gonna figure out how we're gonna do this, because the plan here, number one, is to mount the monitor actually on the side of the case, probably this side, but I'm thinking it'd be better if it was the other side, but that doesn't come off, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that. If I am gonna do that, it's gonna be before I put the motherboard on, so I gotta figure that out. But we gotta dissect this first. We got this actually free. This was given to us. However, these are the type of finds that you can sometimes find at Goodwill or something like that. A crappy computer. This actually has an i3 in it, which may not sound terrible. However, this is a first gen Intel i3. It scores like 100 on Cinebench. It is terrible. This thing needs to die. However, the case shall live. We will get a DVD drive out of this that we'll leave in here. So our hard drive comes out, a 750 gigabyte hard drive. Not too bad, especially considering my 2 terabyte may have died, so this might become one of my new game drives. We're gonna take this front panel off for the time being as well. Yeah, unfortunately, no air ventilation can go through that top. So we're gonna take the DVD drive out for now, just so it gives us a little more room to work here, especially because I don't know how we're gonna mount the monitor quite yet. Okay, I think that's all the screws holding the motherboard in here. Oh, nope, we got something here. Oh, we got one more here. I'm blind. Okay, this is gonna come right out. This is a small case to work with, I will be honest, but not too bad, not too bad. There is a fan back here, which I will take out. I don't know if this is gonna be replaced with another fan or what, or the radiator's gonna have to go here, though this is not a big enough fan for that, so I don't know where the radiator is gonna go exactly yet. Okay, so we got the computer case all torn down, nothing else is in here, power supply's out, motherboard's out, everything. I'm gonna go ahead and dust it down a little bit. It's got some dust in it from the last owner, and we will be right back. Okay, I probably got it as clean as best as I can. I gotta think here, because the way this case is designed, I can't take this side panel off. It's essentially riveted on, and this is all one piece of sheet metal that goes up here. So I have a couple options here. I definitely could mount it on this side. However, since it's the side that essentially comes on and off the computer, I'm very much more tempted to mount it to this side. However, it's gonna be really difficult to do that. I mean, I could definitely drill holes and do something and call it a day. I'm just trying to think here if that's the best thing I should do, which I'm kind of leaning towards yes. Let's get a tape measure. Now, because this panel is completely flat on the back and the ports are unfortunately have to go here, I have to make sure that my HDMI cable here, as well as the power cable for the monitor, are gonna have enough room. So this is gonna have to actually go into the computer case, which makes me think this is going to have to be on the panel that comes off. I didn't wanna do that, but I think I'm going to have to. So let's figure out mounting here. But I guess since I am gonna do this on that side that's gonna go off, I suppose we could actually, as everything's falling on me, I suppose what we'll do is make sure that the actual motherboard fits in the case properly and everything works first, figure out the radiator situation before I even get there, as I could worry about that later. So let's start with the motherboard here and make sure that actually fits in here. Oh, That's how Trevor cuts himself. Okay, so let's try to bring the motherboard in here with the radiator. Let's actually take our ghetto power button off. Oh yeah. So this is smaller than our last motherboard for sure, which is good actually. All the screw holes match up here, so this is fine. As far as the radiator though, we're gonna need to figure that out. This might have to get creative. But let's go ahead and screw in the motherboard here. So I got all the screws in, but what I'm kind of thinking here is I might have to change the orientation that I currently have the radiator. Crap. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do this exactly. Well, maybe like that. Oh, we're just like, there's just not enough room in here to do this nicely, but to be honest, this might just work and I can at least get one screw in there. Well, I may have figured it out, but I'm gonna have to test fit everything right now because I will say this is not gonna leave me much room at all here. So I can get one screw in here right now, and then maybe I'll try drilling others in it later. So for now, these are gonna go in just like this, and then this one should be able to go in without any real issue. Okay, what I'm currently worried about is the graphics card fitting in though because of this radiator, which is in there with one screw. But I think it'll be fine actually. That indeed works. Not too much of an issue. And we got plenty of room here. The only things I'm really worried about right now is going to be my temps because I don't have great airflow considering I can't really suck anything from the front. We do got a couple fans we're gonna try doing something with, but we'll have to play around with that and see how that works. I also need to get this radiator on a little bit better, but theoretically this is a good start here. Better than I thought it was gonna be, to be honest. As I'm looking here, I'm a little worried about the power supply now, and also cable management I see is pretty much non-existent in this case. So that's another issue I think we're gonna have. Needless to say, I feel like I've got a lot of issues right now to overcome still in this project. Quite amazing how this is all coming together so far. So what we'll do here is let's figure out this whole thing for the TV now, because this is where my struggle is going to begin. This is where we're going to take this guy here and the TV and start figuring out how this is all going to mount. Now we're probably going to want this on the higher side here. So maybe like that, because that should be out of the way of our graphics card at that point for the cables, which is going to be important. So we're going to need the Dremel to cut out the bottom part here, which I'll have to try to mark somehow. And we're only going to have like one opportunity to make sure this goes on straight too. Okay, so let me get that Dremeled out first, and then we will figure out the whole situation. Okay, so I got the Dremel. Don't try this at home. I'm not using any eye protection. That's not the smartest thing in the world, but I don't care. So I broke the bit, and considering I only have 2 bits, now I'm worried. Let me try these metal snipper things. I don't know if this is gonna work at all. You know what? This might actually work if I could get a big enough hole. That will do it. I know what to do. Okay, because I'm an imbecile and didn't have anything correct, I'm gonna use these metal cutters and this big drill bit to drill big holes, and hopefully this works. Very nice. It's not clean looking, but I'll grind that part off later. So I kind of wish I tried these first, because that worked pretty good. The worst part of the cutting is actually when I was dremeling. This thing worked very well. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So now all we got to figure out is our screw mounting, which theoretically is going to be our hardest part here because this needs to be straight, which is the part I'm worried about the most. So that's going to go right about there, which gives us enough room for everything here. And I think that's fairly straight. So we'll just got to figure out where the first hole is here for our, it's looking like right here. I'm going to drill a small hole like right around there and see how far or not far we are. All reality, it doesn't matter if I'm off here because, like I said, you're never going to see it. Let's not far off in all reality. That gives me a really good idea though of where all these are now. Okay, so this has been a messy and crappy project thus far. Worse than I thought it was going to be. But I guess I shouldn't have expected anything less. I think I gotta put some screws in and honestly find out. It's too hard to tell at the moment, which might lead me to my next problem, and that's finding the appropriate screws for this. Unless these work. This has been a project, let me just tell you that right now. So we got this all mounted. It actually looks really level to the top of the case, and I put just a strip of double stick tape on the bottom here to help with support, but there we go. So hopefully that goes on correctly. I've not test fitted that or anything yet. But let's go to the case again and get the rest of that set up. Now what I am thinking of doing is maybe putting a fan on the bottom at some point, but we're not gonna worry about fans or anything else right now. We're gonna see how this thing actually does perform airflow wise before I go too extreme into modifying it even more, just because I don't know how this thing is gonna perform as of right now. We're getting pretty close here to wanting to test this out. At least test it out without a DVD drive in it, which we don't really care about, but let me grab my HDMI cable, figure out how this is going to be routed, which I think is actually pretty simple. We got power here. Let's try to put the side panel on with the monitor and try to get this hooked up here. So we'll start by hooking power in here, and then hooking the HDMI in, and then we'll see if I can put this on. It slid on, and we're definitely on. Wow, I think this might have just worked. Now, just for stability purpose, well, actually make sure it's on the top too. Looks right. Before I do anything though, I am going to be screwing in the side panel before I put any pressure on it, just because this is an overall cheap case. I don't want to put any stress on anything without the proper screws in. It's solid, man. It's solid. Wow. Oh God, it's falling. Also, there's some scratches in here I hope will come off, scuffed. This came out pretty awesome. Well, in all reality, there's only one thing left to do besides put the front cover on, actually screw the power supply in because I noticed it's not plugged in. But before we do all of that, let's just plug it in and make sure it works for starters. So what I'm interested to do right now in my trial time of playing around with this is make sure the computer functions, make sure like the power button works, which we'll try right now. Oh, I've heard something click on. I think the computer's running. Are we posting? Yeah, look at that. Very cool, very cool. I know this is not the best angle for you guys. I apologize. Not a good angle for me either. But what I really want to check and just get into Windows and check temperatures and see how good or not good we're doing there. We'll have to put a stress test on and see how these temps really do overall, but so far I don't really know where it's getting its air from. But we're doing perfectly acceptable here. I imagine the GPU is going to be hotter, but why don't we just put a stress test on for a little while I try to finish the rest of this up and see how it does. Yeah, so ultimately temps are fine. I was just doing it for about 5 minutes and literally they didn't change at all from when it was open. So GPU temps I imagine are a different story, but I'm not concerned about those at the moment. For revision 1 of this, I'm pretty satisfied. I'm going to take it apart now, get everything else screwed back in, and we'll go from there. Well, this was some project. Everything is very stable. This is a much better build than my last one. Only couple problems there are is I can't put the back little plate where the the VGA and HDMI and things like that are because of the radiator fan sticks out too far. Plus the HDMI cable's going through there, but that's not a big deal at all. Besides that, I was able to drill another hole for the radiator, so there's 2 good screws holding that in. Which seems more than sufficient. The monitor is on there so well. I actually lifted the whole computer up from the monitor and it was perfectly fine. This is what I should have done the first time without a doubt. I will have a follow-up video at some point going over temperatures and seeing how things get under load, especially while gaming. I got to figure that out if I'm going to add any other additional fans in the future, since there is no real airflow coming in from the front of this case. And I am kind of blocking some of the airflow on the side here. However, I actually can feel pressure on these side vents of air going in, so that's actually a good sign. One thing I would like to do in the future too is actually put a handle on top so you could kind of carry it like a briefcase. I think that'd be pretty cool. So we'll see about that in the future. But let me know what you guys think of this project. This was a crazy project today. I made the studio into a mess, but I think it was worth it. This thing came out awesome. So if you guys like these type of videos, let us know down below. And until next time, we'll see you later.